All right, what's up guys? Sorry if I'm breathing hard. I'm recording this video in between my work sets of squat and bench. I decided to go back to my linear progression. It's been a year since I did my first one, but I had to take a month off of consistent training, and I'm starting to do keto, low carb with my wife. And so I'm not near as strong as I wouldn't say not near, but I'm not quite as strong as I used to be. So I decided to just restart the linear progression, give me a simple workout to maintain. But anyway, the point of the video is to talk about the Titan T3 rack. A lot of people on Instagram and YouTube are asking how the rack is holding up after probably about 6 months of use now. I think I got it last summer. It's January, so about 6 months. So yeah, I'm going to show you some of the what some of the finish looks like in some of the high wear areas, like where the J-cups touch, the holes where the pins go through, what the safety pins look like, all that stuff after the bar's been on them, what the J-cups look like. And yeah, I'll go over some of the lifts that I've done in it and how it held up, and you know, stuff like that. All right, first up, we'll go over how I have it set up, where I have all the accessories and all that stuff, and why I have it set up that way. All right, so right now I have it set up for squat. I have the J-cups right here. This is where I like to put them. One thing, real quick, I wish these were rounded, kind of like a point, kind of like the Rogue rack. You see how worn out they get around the edge right here, but it's no biggie. They still go in and out just fine. It'd just be a little easier if they had more of a taper. But anyway, so I've got the squat set up like that. I've got my two weight racks or weight storage pins right here, kind of high, because you know I bench back here and I don't want the weight to hit. Sometimes they do if I get a little off. The plates will hit right there, but that's why I've got them up there. I just got my change plates, 10s on the bottom, 1 1/4, 2 1/2, and 5 on top. Then I've got my band pins. I don't use them a whole lot right now. I have used them for different workout programs, but you know, I just keep my bands. I've got 1 black, 2 greens, and 2 red Rogue bands up there. I keep my other pins in the front. Sometimes I hang my knee sleeves on them because they get kind of sweaty. But it's January and it's kind of cold here, so I don't hang them up there. Here's the safety pins. I've got them set up for squat. I drop them down maybe like 5 or 6 when I bench. Like I said, this thing is bolted to the platform. It's not bolted to the floor. It's a lag bolt that runs from the bottom on all 4 sides. The platform, it's not quite part of the rack, but it's a separate piece that sits in front, and it does kind of wander that way when I deadlift. I'll probably figure out some way to attach it because this thing's really heavy and I hate having to slide it over every few weeks or so. But anyway, that's how I have it set up right now. The pull-up bars are all the way up top because I'm kind of tall. I got longish arms and that's where I need them. But yeah, that's the rack. Oh, I've got a vertical bar holder right there. I've got 1 bar right here. That's my right kind of all-purpose bar. And the Rogue power bar is being used right now. But I store it right there on the weekends and stuff when I'm not using it. All right, as you can see, going from squat to bench was not that big a deal. Just had to take the bar off, swap the J-hooks to the back post, drop the safety pins, and roll the bench in. All right, so now that we're set up for bench, let's go over the nitty gritty, how this thing's holding up. Let's see, go back to this side. That is where the mark that I squat with. See, I have a pencil mark, not a whole lot of wear. See if my phone will focus. Not a whole lot of wear in that pinhole. Go around to the front. That's the mark I have for my overhead press. You know, not a whole lot of wear, just a little bit. Same on the other side. Down here, this is where my safety pins go. There's a mark for squat. You can see just the bottom of that hole kind of wearing the finish off just a little on some of these. The pins, or I guess the pipe, you know, the finish maybe right there where I've done block pull or rack pulls. You know, the Ohio power bar is pretty aggressive, so it does take a little bit of the finish off. It kind of looks worse on camera than it does in person. But yeah, and you can see a little bit more wear inside the holes, and back here where the taper of the pin, when it comes in and out, I'm just trying to get it set in that hole. It kind of mars up the finish just a little. The J-cups, Rogue or anybody, why don't y'all put the plastic on the front? Because when you bench, you know, you want to roll it all the way to the front before you unrack it. And so, like I said, the power bar is pretty aggressive, and you can see it's completely worn the finish off right there with this knurling. The plastic HDPE or whatever kind of polymer plastic they use, it's holding up great. It's got some scuff marks on it. Some of the screws get a little bit loose, but you know, no biggie. And you can see some of the wear where the pin from the J-cup goes through. These weight holders, you know, they're scuffed up pretty good, but I mean, you're putting a sharp edge of a weight on. I usually, let's see if I can do this. When I put it on here, I usually set it at an angle and then rock it and slide it. So, you know, I'm not too worried about that. And you can see where the weight comes back. It's kind of sliding the finish off the top, but the plastic's holding up. It hasn't popped out. Nothing's really come loose on it. One thing I did, when I put it together, it didn't come with washers for both sides. You can see, there's a light right there. You can see that's the standard washer that came with it. And there was none on this side. I didn't really like the way it looked. So I bought some more grade 8, I think, hardware at Tractor Supply just to finish it out and make it look a little better to me. But yeah, one thing, if you've watched like Alan Thrall's videos on the Titan racks, he said that when he got them set up, they weren't level, and like the posts were maybe bowed or bent or out of square. This one was the same way. When I got all the hardware tightened up, when I tightened all the hardware up, the legs weren't exactly straight, which, I mean, it's not a welded piece, so you can expect a little bit of that. And these up here, the little pull-up brackets, some of them were kind of bent, you know, probably from the welding. When you weld something thin like that, it will bow from the heat, or it'll bow from the heat. So it had to straighten out with the bolts, and some of it kind of tweaked the bottom of the post a little bit, but it's bolted with lag bolts to the bottom, and I just marked it and measured it and made sure everything was level before I drilled it. And then when I tightened it to the platform, everything went square. All right, so like I said, I've done all kind of lifts on it. The main lifts I've done is squat, bench, overhead press, pull-ups. I've done some rack pulls off of it. I've done banded bench with the bands in the bottom down there. I've had squats up to like 485, close to 500, no problem at all. No problem with the J-cups, no problem with it wobbling or anything like that. Nothing's come loose. Overall, it's holding up great. Like I said, the finish is wearing in some of the high traffic areas and the high wear spots. But that's kind of being expected with any rack, especially with one that has a reputation of having not so good a finish. But It's no biggie to me. I don't really care. I use this 4 times a week or 4 days a week. I do at least 3 or 4 exercises every day on it, and it's holding up great. So if you want a good rack with plenty of adjustability, plenty of accessories, and you don't want to break the bank, go with Titan, and you probably won't be disappointed. I will say some people have had hit or miss luck with the shipping and delivery of all the parts. All my parts were there, so I didn't have a problem with that. So if you're willing to take that chance, go for it. You won't be disappointed.